lecturer. To, of course, get right into our discussion, first, an introduction of our guest this evening. He is the chairman of the National Intellectuals Organization, affiliated with the Jatika Janabalawegya, or the National People's Power. He's also a lecturer at the Sri Jayawardhanapura University. A very good evening and welcome to the show, Dr. Jayantha.
A very good evening to you, Benedict.
Doctor, before we get into the issues that really affect the general public of the country right now, speaking a little bit about the political atmosphere here in Sri Lanka, as soon as the president was appointed, there was the appointment of a presidential commission to investigate allegations of political victimization. And this presidential commission on political victimization submitted a report. Now there is a presidential commission that has been appointed to implement the recommendations of this report of the presidential commission. Now, there is discussion, and there is discourse in the general public and in the political sphere of Sri Lanka that certain members, certain leaders especially of the JVP, which is of course affiliated to the Jatika Janabalawegya, and leaders of the Jatika Janabalawegya, there is a risk of them losing their civic rights. What is the NPP stance on this matter?
I think so. This is like a broad issue. Then I'll try to explain the situation and our stance. And before that, I must tell you that I'm not an legal expert. I'm just expressing this idea. I'm like ordinary person, but as a political activist. And of course, the president has the power to appoint presidential commissions. But president should not misuse these powers. But if you take even the name and objective of this particular commission, it was to find out, like the name is the political victimizations, the Commission on Political Victimization. In that task, actually what happened was the investigations were carried out, especially with respect to the pending cases which were really filed not by individuals, so not by Andra Kumar Zanayake or any other individuals. They were prosecuted by the government, Attorney General. So within the present legal system, judicial system. So therefore, if something has gone wrong with all these things, assuming that so I have just prosecuted you for a wrong reason, so you have plenty of opportunities to go to the court and prove yourself, your innocent, saying that I am. So instead of doing this thing, by using this power which is given in the constitution to the president, appointed this particular commission to get a report. Okay, say that, so you got a report. The commission says or gives some recommendation. Based on this recommendation, actually then the president should take a decision, or this should be referred to the court or anywhere else and proceed. As you mentioned, instead of doing that, another power is vested with the president to appoint special commissions. So he tries to implement the recommendations like the given in that particular commission through this special commission, simply bypassing the judicial system. So in my opinion, this is going to be a real damage to the independence of the current legal system and good governance, because so those who were accused should prove their innocence in the court. Instead of doing this thing from a back door, they are going to be really cleaned off. Finally, what is likely to happen is those who were really charged, accused, are going to be heroes. So they take the side of the plaintiff, and those like from good governance, those who try to bring all those things to the lives of the general public are going to be in jail, or maybe
lose their civic rights.
Yeah, just relinquish their civic rights and all those things. So from good governance point of view, from the independence of the judiciary point of view, it is really bad. So already from National Intellectual Organization the point of view, and the JVP and NPP, we have really vehemently condemned this thing, and we explain and bring these facts to the general public and decide, like, do you want to live in such a country? If that is the case, there wouldn't be any room available for us to democratically decide anything. Everything would be decided by the wishes and whims of one person or any other selected person. But the danger is those people are really crooks. They are really accused. Lots of corruption charges are being done. So if they take the power, what would happen? So this would be a paradise for corruption. So it's really dangerous. final price would be paid by the general public. So that is the danger. Unfortunately, general public has not realized these things. So they have, they feel, then they react within their political identities, simply ignoring these relationships. Actually, you guys will have to face the negative consequences of these things. So it is not good for a good society.
So these political identities that you speak of, they aren't sometimes even the political identities that people have chosen for themselves. Sometimes it comes in the family by just the friends and people who surround you.
Yeah, actually this is political identity just ranges within a very wide array. So one is these families, one may be racism, and one may be regional identities, religious identities likewise. So therefore, being a country, we have not brought up, we have not been able to really market and promote main identity, that is the at least national identity. Instead, the petty identities play the role. So that is really dangerous, because within the petty identity, I may be happy being either Sinhalese, Tamils or Muslim when something goes wrong, because I can easily, so within this particular the situation, any person can be turned against the other within these, I mean, the petty grounds. So that is dangerous. If you can think of the national levels, the situation would be much better.
Well, today a decision was announced in Parliament by the Prime Minister. He said that the much contested mandatory cremation policy here in Sri Lanka, the mandatory cremation policy, that all COVID-19 related deaths, all bodies must be cremated, that policy will change in the future. There has not been a Gazette notification issued to that effect as yet, but this decision was announced. How does the National People's Power view this, these developments?
Yeah, in a way, now you have to, either you like it or not, you have to accept the general realities prevailing in the country. So they were playing with the emotions, feeling of different communities, again, as I just told you. So you turn one against the other. So that was the reason why until now they were saying like, no, it could be cremated, the burial is dangerous, it has to be cremated, and likewise so many arguments were brought up by the same the line, but with different ideologies. So the same party promote on one hand saying that yes, we need to give the permission for the burial, but others say no, burial would be really dangerous, the cremation is needed, without having any facts. So from the very beginning, NPP, JVP and NEO, National Intellectual Organization, so we were saying that because we are not expert we are not medical experts, so we are not virologists. So we said that okay, just do a very good independent investigation about this thing, come out with scientific facts, and instead of playing with the feelings and emotion of general public. So now they do not have any escape, because they don't have any evidence to prove that. So that would it would be really dangerous to bury. So finally they have to accept on one hand. Again, not only because of the pure reason that the scientific grounds is not available, at the same time now they want to simply please these communities. Okay, we take care of yourself. So they, even with this thing, they try to look for petty political advantages and not thinking of the real issue. So that is how we look at this particular issue, because this shouldn't have been taken and dragged up to this level, could have been solved long time back. So then your valuable time could have been used for something good for the society, because you are fighting for nothing, unnecessary thing.
Well, do you believe that this is too little done too late? There was also links made with the arrival of course, the Pakistani Prime Minister to Sri Lanka, Imran Khan, and also the support that Sri Lanka needs at the United Nations Human Rights Council sessions. Now, these are some, of course, opinions that have been pitched, right, and it's out there. Your stance on these matters?
Yeah, of course, so there could be reasons like this, because when you think of these politics, especially geopolitics and all those things, so the present situation that the current country is facing, of course, that could be a reason sometimes just to please them. So we adhere to internationally accepted rules, guidelines and all those things. It's quite possible just to please leaders and identified communities.
Right. But moving on, of course, Doctor, we need to we need to address the elephant in the room, and that has been the elephant in the room for a long, long time. Corruption is one, national debt being the other.
Yeah.
Now, we've been discussing the national debt in Sri Lanka for a long period of time, and it's generally, when it comes around the time to pay back the debt that we owe to the other countries, that Sri Lankans really realize that we are in a big mess. This happened when we had to pay back $400 million to India.
Yeah.
So, of course, this is your cup of tea, economics, and how we should shape Sri Lanka's economy. Given the current affairs, of course, the incidents that are unfolding, what is your analysis?
Yeah, I think at the moment, among the other crises, so debt crisis is the number one. So when you take the debt crisis, there are two parts. One is the local debt, the other one is the foreign debt. Of course, local debts, being a government would find some or other the means of settling these things. Finally, even the printing money and additional expenses and all these government expenses, so they can settle the loans, or they can borrow from locally and settle. So there will not be that much. Of course, that is the problematic, but that could be tackled. But when it comes to foreign loans, the situation is not that easy, because you need to repay your loans in dollars, foreign denomination, foreign currencies, that mean dollars. So in order to do this, that is what we call foreign reserves. No matter whether the central bank has it, banks have, you or me or any other individuals have. As long as Sri Lanka has collected kind of reserves, that is the dollars, that is the one which is going to be used when you repay. So as of now, you need not to take a longer period of time. If you just take 1 year ahead from now, the total amount of foreign debts to be settled within a year accounts almost $6 billion. $6 billion.
$6 billion within a year.
Within a year.
Right.
But as of now, the current level of reserves, including everything, because reserves, all the reserves cannot be quickly utilized, because all the reserves are not in a liquid form.
Right.
So even if we assume that all the foreign reserves, if we have, so they are liquid and we can make use it for repaying debts, it amounts only for 5 billion something. That is pretty much lower than the amount that we have to pay in a year. So therefore, within a year, so government has to earn dollars either by hook or crook. So that is the equation. It's very simple. So therefore, how do you earn money? So from exports, because that can be improved, because at the same time your imports are greater than exports. Therefore, there is no increase. The other one is the foreign remittances. So I mean,
now of course there's a huge drop.
Huge drop is there. In future, many those who work in the Middle East area would lose their job. They would return to come, or they may be really stranded there. But there would be a huge drop. Then you need to borrow money. So borrowing is really difficult nowadays, because of country has been downgraded to CCC level. That means almost default stage.
This is by Fitch ratings and
Fitch
Moody's.
rating, Moody's and the S&P all have really downgraded.
Does it matter that the government really rejected these downgradings and said that they are baseless, the central bank?
Of course, they can really reject all these claims, but all these internationally recognized institutions don't give or downgrade any country without having any information. They do all these things based on evidence and technical analysis. So therefore, it's a very valid reason, because if you don't have reserves, how are you going to pay? So therefore, there is a great risk. With this context, so India, so also they make use their political agendas as well. As I just told you, the geopolitical situation in the country.
Right.
So America and China is in a trade war. Meantime, America may try to intervene Sri Lanka through India. So that could be one of the reasons why they were just trying to acquire the eastern terminal, the container terminal as well. So finally, so failing which, so it doesn't mean that everything is over. So India quickly increased the pressure, asking this swap loan quickly. So otherwise they would
Now
have
we need the money back.
Yeah, we need the money back. So
Doctor, before we continue our discussion on this matter, we need to cross over to a short commercial break first. But before we go, since we were speaking about the geopolitical effects that these have in Sri Lanka, and also we spoke about the mandatory cremation policy, an update on the matter that Prime Minister Imran Khan has welcomed the decision given by Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa on moving away from the mandatory cremation policy. He has announced this, he has made this statement on Twitter, the Prime Minister of Pakistan. And with that, we will cross over to a short commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We will be back with more interesting discussions, of course, on matters that are important to you and to our country. Stay tuned. This is Newsline Live.
News First, Newsline.
Hello there and welcome back. You're watching Newsline Live, of course coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. We're in conversation with Dr. Anil Jayanta, affiliated with the National People's Power, also known as the Jatika Janabala Vegya. Doctor, we were speaking about the economy of Sri Lanka and of course the massive debt crisis that we're facing right now. But instead of just speaking of the negatives, let's speak a bit about the positives. The stock market in Sri Lanka made record gains. It was ranked as one of the best performing stock markets in the world, even amid this this crucial COVID-19 pandemic, even though the COVID-19 pandemic is still quite prevalent here in Sri Lanka. This is a positive development, at least on the part of the economy?
Actually, this has to be understood in like this way. Of course, the stock market can be taken as a lag indicator of the economic performance, provided that the corporations really create values, generate performance, that is the profits. So then if new companies are listed and the economic activities are expanding, value of corporations are going up. So as a result, of course, there is a logical argument that value of a share can go up. So it happens gradually. It can't happen overnight. So here, just we need to take into account the present economic conditions throughout the world. So they're affected by COVID, and we were having a sluggish economy, and we have not even shown up very, comprehensive economic plan. Within these contexts, if share prices or the companies are performing much better, it's a miracle. It is not the reality. So to great extent, there are possibilities, but we do not know who manipulate and all these things. But with my knowledge, I can categorically say that there are some symptoms of playing with this market due to valid reasons are also there, because there was some undervalued the shares. But because of the huge influx of capital at very low cost, and created situation might have increased or the share prices. So as you said, so then we claim that, so this is the number one share market in terms of the
fastest growing
within this year. But just last week, what happened? So everything crashed, like there was a downturn in the market, because if you bring something artificially to certain level, you can't sustain. So that is what it shows. Because even in the best period in the stock market after the war, and the Colombo Stock Exchange was not able to cross this
8,000
this thing. Actually, this time it crossed the reach up to 9,000 even. So if you do something artificially to just show off the general public that we are doing much better, and there is a limit, you can't really deceive the general public for a longer period of time. When it goes down, reverse happens, so danger would be there. So even you can see that last week, even today, yesterday, what happened to the stock market? So it is going down drastically in a day. So market is, the index goes down by 300 points, 200 points likewise. Then what happens? The confidence of the investors would be lost. Meantime, so there is a very good indicator if someone wants to look at. So check what is happening to the foreign investment. If you take the foreign investors' reaction in the stock market nowadays, foreign investors just pulling out, they sell off. Every day there is a net foreign outflow. Why? They know the risk, because there is no real value creation within the companies. Meantime, they know the risk of the foreign exchange. In future, even though they earn 10%, they would lose. So these are the realities, because then I really urge the government. So if someone tries to claim that the picking up the stock prices is a very good indicator of the economy, so it is bad. So actually it is a lagged indicator. If the economy is really good, if you perform very well, automatically, naturally, share market will go up. If you artificially try to push it up, there is a danger in two means. One is, so this will give an opportunity to financialists. So financialists means those who have lots of money borrowed at low cost and the pile of cash hidden in their pockets, they simply come to the stock market and opportunistic behavior. They can buy shares in large stocks. You got it? Large values. So they buy and hold it for a short period of time, quickly earn lots of money. So that is unfair, socially injustice. That is one reason. Other thing is, innocent investors, those who have collected maybe little money, so may go to the stock market with the confidence that so we can earn lots of money. All of a sudden, you lose everything. So what happens? So from two hands, so two ends, general public was the finally the price of these things, manipulations would be paid by the general public. It's really bad. So therefore, I urge the government and the monitoring or regulatory.
But there are still no evidence to
Yeah,
support
of course.
these matters.
Evidence in a sense, like I do not say
Hard
that
evidence.
so someone has purposely manipulated, but with the substantial, like what you call.
But what are you really comparing this to? Has there been incidents like this in the past?
Yeah. So in the past, actually, even if you take this instance in after war, 2010 to 2014 period, so there was a quick boost. Lots of opportunities were there. So by that time, actually speculation was there. So you had a general sentiment was there. Opportunities were there. As a result, in addition to the economic performance, the share market went up. So there is a reason. As of now, we don't have such a reason. So that is why we have a very big doubt. And the other thing is the foreigners are just really quitting from the market. So that is the reason why, even if you take another incident, on average, daily turnover in the stock market was roughly less than 1 billion last year. So these like a couple of months, so daily turnover surpassed even 10 billion. Even like, so that means, so lots of money has come. So it is a very, how to say, economic theory, a tool that if lots of money comes into the market and without having new value created, of course, the value of the remaining assets will go up.
Doctor,
Like
there is a question that has been submitted by one of our viewers. The question being, what's happening to the interest rates the poor senior citizens are suffering?
Yeah, of course. Like, so this is very interesting. In a way, if the interest rate can be kept at a very low rate by real substantial economic progress, that is really good for the country. But if you try to keep the interest rate down forcefully, what happened? Lots of negative consequences are there, as you said. So now from this situation, government would be benefited because government can borrow locally at a very low cost. Who is going to pay that price? Innocent people, those who have small amount of money deposited with the bank, maybe senior citizen. Earlier they were able to get a handy return. Now they are
This
suffering.
is how the national debt directly affects the general public of the country.
On one hand, the prices of the general essential goods are going up. So on the other hand, they are losing the income that they were able to draw from their deposits. So it's unfair in a way because they are not really taken care of. But at the same time, I again repeat that the government and the opportunities are created for few to earn lots of money. It's unfair. It creates, widens the gap between rich and poor in a country. That is really dangerous in future. We do not know what kind of society that we have to face because down the line, somewhere down the line, if you are desperate, what are you going to do? You are ready to do anything. We do not know lots of social issues or thefts and any kind of things because when your dignity is lost, so people, you need to live. Therefore, you like these kind of distractions also could happen unless the situation is properly managed and wisely intervene rather than playing the game.
So the only way forward for Sri Lanka is together. The only way that Sri Lanka can develop is if we all move forward together and prosper together and not by allowing a few select people to make large profits, to make their lives better, because that, in the end of the day, will lead to a crisis, of course, here in Sri Lanka. Thank you very much, Doctor, for joining us on our show and clarifying these matters to us, of course. And a big thank you to all our viewers out there for tuning in to Newsline Live. We will see you again, same time, same place tomorrow. Until then, take care and God bless.